Welcome to the Mary Potter Podcast. You know we love a good magical tale, and this week we have some intriguing flash fiction stories from the wizarding world.
We do.
It's like stepping into a fantasy film or getting a taste of an epic series.
Yeah, condensed into these really potent little narratives.
Exactly. We're going to unpack two of these flash fiction stories today, and we're looking at some very surprising twists on some classic stories.
That's what's so fun about them.
I know, right?
They take these familiar narratives and then just by adding that element of magic.
Oh, it changes everything.
Completely.
Okay, so first up is Robin Hood, the Mage of Sherwood.
Yeah.
Now, this isn't your typical outlaw story. Instead of just a skilled archer, imagine Robin Hood as a powerful mage.
Ooh, I like that.
I know, right? And he's wielding forest magic to protect the poor from the tyrannical sheriff of Nottingham, who, get this, is himself a corrupt sorcerer.
It raises the stakes a bit, doesn't it?
Pretty
From
nice.
just, robbing the rich and giving to the poor.
Totally. And one of the flash fiction stories you sent us is called Arrows of Ash. It gives us this really vivid glimpse into what this magical Sherwood forest is like.
Oh, that one's fantastic. It really sets the scene beautifully.
I know. It's so immersive.
Great.
Okay, and then after that, we're going to tumble down the rabbit hole, so to speak, into Alice in Wonderland's magical trials.
Buckle up.
I know, right?
Magic always a wild ride.
Oh, yeah, but forget tea parties for a moment. Because in this version, Alice is a young mage who's trying to navigate the unpredictable and often quite dangerous magic of Wonderland. And you've given us a flash fiction story called The Queen's Croquet Catastrophe to explore.
Oh, that one's a doozy.
I know, right? Whereas in Typical Game of Croquet, well,
That turns into utter mayhem.
exactly. Our mission today with this magical probe is to really pull out the most captivating elements from these magical tales, highlighting the unique magical twists on these classic stories.
Absolutely. Let's unearth some surprising insights along the way.
Exactly. Okay, so are you ready to step into these enchanted realms?
Let's do it.
Okay, so first up, Robin Hood, the Mage of Sherwood.
Oh.
They're in Sherwood Forest, but as you said, the very air is crackling with magical energy, but the core conflict, right?
Still there.
The benevolent Robin Hood, protecting the poor from the wicked sheriff of Nottingham, that's all there.
The classic setup.
Exactly. However, the battlefield is now this arena of dueling magic.
Oh, totally. Which adds this whole other layer of complexity to their rivalry.
Totally. Okay, so the Arrows of Ash story, it opens with Rowan, this world's Robin Hood,
Yeah.
using forest magic. You see these arrows, and they're glowing with Rowan's magic.
It's such a cool visual.
I know, but he's not using them to kill. He's disrupting the sheriff's guards who are attacking a peasant village.
Right. So he's not about unnecessary bloodshed.
Exactly.
He's more strategic, more measured.
So what does this tell you about Rowan's approach to justice?
Well, it definitely shows a more nuanced understanding of power, right? He's not just about brute force. He's using his magic to protect, to disable, rather than to destroy. Which is interesting because it makes you wonder, in a world where magic is real, does that change how we approach justice? Like, are there magical solutions that might not even exist in a non-magical world?
That's so interesting.
Yeah, it opens up a whole new ethical landscape.
Totally. Okay, so the sheriff retaliates
Naturally.
with dark fire.
Mhm.
It emphasizes the difference between them, the magical disparity.
Immediately you see this clash between their magical styles, right?
Yeah.
Like nature versus something darker, more volatile.
Right.
It's a very visual representation of their opposing philosophies.
And he even boasts that Rowan's petty nature spells, he calls them, are no match for a true sorcerer.
That line is dripping with arrogance, isn't it?
It is, and it establishes, like you were saying, this central magical conflict.
Right. And also the danger that the villagers are in.
Exactly.
Like, this isn't just a playful magical duel. This is a real threat.
Totally. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Rowan's power is deeply connected to the land. It's not just some abstract magical energy. It's like he's drawing on the forest itself.
Yeah, the story describes him drawing on the forest's ancient heart, which I think is just beautiful imagery.
I know. And it causes roots to burst from the earth and ensnare the sheriff's men. This idea of a mage drawing power from nature, it's such a compelling twist.
It is, and it makes you think about the source of the sheriff's magic, right? Like,
Yeah.
if Rowan's is this organic, life-giving force, what's fueling the sheriff's dark fire?
Right. And it also makes me think about the cost. Like, what is he sacrificing to wield that kind of power.
Exactly, because magic always has a price.
Totally. And
Mm.
it's not just Rowan's magic at work here. Even the villagers, they're actively participating in this magical battle. Emboldened by Rowan, they start planting acorns, where his magic has churned the soil. It's like a symbolic act of defiance, but also of hope.
Absolutely. Like they're planting the seeds for a future free from the sheriff's tyranny.
Oh.
And it shows that they're not just passive victims, they're actively involved in the fight for their own liberation.
Exactly. And then we get this dramatic, magical duel where the sheriff turns into, what do they call it, a murder of ravens.
Yeah, which is such a chilling image.
I know. But then Rowan counters him with this whirlwind of enchanted acorns that explode with this blinding light.
It was so inventive.
I know. And it's so far from sword fights and archery. It's like this a whole new level of fantastical combat.
Totally. And it shows Rowan's creativity, right? Like he's not just throwing fireballs around, he's using the elements of the forest to his advantage.
Exactly. And even when the sheriff's dark power seems overwhelming, it's like the land itself turns against him. These saplings just sprout up and ensnare him.
Right. It's like nature itself is rejecting his corrupt magic. Like it's saying, you're not welcome here.
Exactly. And the resolution is unique, too. He's not bound with ropes, but with woven vines.
That's a powerful image, isn't it? Being bound by the very nature you're trying to dominate.
I know. And the flash fiction story emphasizes that the sheriff's corrupt magic was no match for the enduring spirit of the land. It really makes you think about different kinds of power, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Like, is true power about control or is it about harmony?
Yeah.
About working with the forces of nature rather than trying to bend them to your will?
That's such a good point.
Yeah.
But then the Arrows of Ash story ends with this cliffhanger where Rowan discovers this hidden chamber in the sheriff's manor.
Oh, yeah. With the mysterious altar and all that.
Right. It has this strange altar, these runes, and this shadowy mirror that's reflecting a figure, like some kind of aristocratic figure in a distant castle.
Which hints at a much bigger conspiracy, right? Like maybe the sheriff is just a pawn in a much larger game.
Exactly. So it really changes how you see everything that's happened in Sherwood, right?
Oh, absolutely. It opens up this whole new dimension of intrigue.
Totally. Okay, so now let's shift gears completely, and we're going to step through the looking glass and into Wonderland.
Where the rules of reality are delightfully flexible.
Exactly. And it's not just a strange dream anymore. It's like this whole other realm where a young mage, Alice, has to use her wits and her burgeoning magical abilities to survive.
It's like Wonderland on steroids.
I know, right? Okay, so the Queen's Croquet catastrophe story, it throws us right into the chaos. Flamingos are whizzing through the air being used as mallets.
Oh, it's gloriously ridiculous.
I know. And Alice, very reasonably, protests and says, this is not croquet, it's chaos.
Which is a perfectly valid observation.
I know. But then the Cheshire Cat replies with this cryptic, in Wonderland, dearie, the rules bend.
Classic Cheshire Cat.
I know. It just underscores the fluid nature of reality and magic in Wonderland, right?
Oh, totally. Like, that's the fundamental law of Wonderland. The rules are made to be bent, broken, twisted into pretzels.
Exactly. And then, of course, the Queen of Hearts has her classic over-the-top reaction, off with her head.
As one does in Wonderland.
I know. But Alice's response is really interesting because it shows her magical potential.
It does. You see her starting to tap into the magic of Wonderland in a really clever way.
I know, and she causes the ground beneath the Queen to become squishy, like wobbly pudding.
Oh, I love that detail.
I know, right? And it's such a clever and humorous use of magic.
It is. And it's not about brute force or direct confrontation. It's about disruption, about using the inherent strangeness of Wonderland against itself.
Exactly. And then the chaos escalates when Alice uses she basically uses a confused flamingo as a projectile, and it causes this panic among the card guards.
That scene is pure Wonderland gold.
I know, right? It's silly and brilliant all at the same time, and it shows Alice's quick thinking and her ability to use the weirdness of Wonderland to her advantage.
Exactly. She's not trying to fight Wonderland. She's learning to play by its rules, which are, of course, no rules at all.
I know. And then the Cheshire Cat is there, being his usual quirky self. He vanishes, reappears, and sings a song about stolen tarts. It's very distracting.
The Cheshire Cat is the ultimate unreliable ally. You never know what he's going to do next, or if he's actually going to be helpful.
I know. But he does add an element of, chaos and unpredictability to the story.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's a wild card in the truest sense.
Total. And then Alice escapes the croquet game by aiming a hedgehog ball perfectly into a rabbit hole.
Again, using the absurdity of Wonderland to her advantage.
I know, right? And the story describes their fall as a dizzying blur of colors, which is just such a great visual for a magical portal.
It captures the otherworldly nature of Wonderland perfectly.
It does. And then the story ends with another cliffhanger, where Alice and the Cheshire Cat encounter these huge, glowing eyes in the leaves.
Ooh, spooky.
I know. And this rumbling voice says something about being intrigued by a girl who outsmarts the queen.
Which suggests that Alice's actions have attracted some powerful attention.
Exactly. So it makes you wonder what kind of challenges she's going to face next. Yeah.
Definitely. And whether this new entity is a friend or a foe.
It really leaves you wanting more.
It does.
Okay, so both of these flash fiction stories, they're so different in tone and setting, but they both offer these really unique and imaginative takes on these familiar tales.
Right, and they show how introducing magic can just completely revitalize a story, giving it new conflicts and new possibilities.
Exactly. So what does this all mean? You've listened to these magical reimaginings. We've taken this magical probe into Robin Hood and Alice in Wonderland. It really shows you the power of looking at classic stories through this fantastical lens.
Right. It does, and it makes you think about how magic changes things, how it impacts the characters and the story.
Exactly, and it raises all sorts of questions.
That does.
So I have a question for you, listening out there. How does introducing magic change how you see these classic narratives? Does it make the heroes more powerful?
Or does it introduce new vulnerabilities?
Exactly. What other familiar stories do you think could be fascinatingly retold with a magical twist?
There's so many possibilities.
I know, right? It really gets your imagination going.
It does.
So this magical probe has offered just a glimpse into two of the many wild tales from the wizarding world of flash fiction.
Just a taste.
Exactly. And we hope it sparked your imagination and maybe inspired you to explore more of these kinds of stories.
There's a whole world of magical flash fiction out there waiting to be discovered.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on the Mary Potter podcast for this weekly magical probe into flash fiction.
It's been a blast.
I know, right? Until next time, keep those magical thoughts brewing.